carrying electricity in the mitochondria of your cells. It's got a copper atom in the middle, so forth and so on. So other atoms that were present in the earth contributed to this, presumably, and God presumably assembled them into fantastic arrays to make DNA double helices and beta-pleated sheets in proteins and electron transport chains in mitochondria and so forth, much like Paley's watchmaker might assemble a watch, piece by piece, from its component springs, gears, and levers. It would be an awesome sight to behold. It would have been a tremendous thing to see that happen in Genesis 2. But now consider what the theory of evolution asserts. Evolution says that atoms and molecules present in deep space and then on the primitive Earth did something radically different from what is described in Genesis 2. Over vast stretches of time, the atoms, through a process which is only partially understood, but which I will try to tell you a lot about tonight, did the astonishing thing of self-assembling into living things. I want you to think hard about this. Imagine that you knew a watch designer who was so incredibly skilled at what he did that he could design the parts of a watch, make the parts, throw them out on a table, and then step back and take his hands off, watching while the hundreds of parts of the watch put themselves together before your eyes. Would that be unbelievable? Or imagine that one day you're conversing with a friend who works at the Skunk Works, where the world's most advanced aircraft have been designed and produced. And he says to you, guess what? We just made a new type of aircraft the world has never seen before, and it's just been declassified, and I can tell you about it. You say, what is it, a new generation of stealth aircraft? And he says, yes, but that's not what is truly new about it. You say, well, what is so new about it? And he says, it's an aircraft that self-assembles from component parts. You, if you know anything at all about engineering, would look at him like he was pulling your leg. And then when you saw he was serious, your jaw would slowly start to drop to the floor because you would know he had gone insane. You know that humans cannot yet build truly complex machines that put themselves together. We can make some machines like robot welders on assembly lines that can do simple things in the assembly of other machines, but we cannot even come close to making machines that assemble themselves. But guess who can make machines that assemble themselves? Now do you see why evolutionists get so excited about evolution? Think about this a little more from an engineering point of view again. In normal engineering, where does the step back and hands off point come in the process? Let me get my laser pointer here. There's my wallet. I'm glad I've still got that. Okay, where does the step back and hands-off point come in the process? The engineers have to have their minds and their hands intimately involved in the conceptual phase, the design phase, and the assembly phase. It is only during the operational phase, assuming everything goes well, that the engineers can step back and hands off. What evolutionary theory allows us to entertain as theists is the idea that Almighty God is creating life on earth, has done something that will set your mind reeling and staggering, something as high above our own engineering abilities as the heavens are high above the earth, something beyond all that we could ask or think. God has pushed the step back and hands off point, which was here, where? He's pushed the step back point into the assembly phase. This is the view of God that theistic evolutionists carry around in their heads. God as the creator is even more awesome than you think. They believe that God, with an intelligence that is nothing less than terrifying, has designed the fundamental particles of the universe and ordained the laws of quantum mechanics so that they will, over time, spontaneously self-assemble into living creatures, while he simply sits back and watches it happen. And then, after 12 billion years of cosmic evolution, when the first humans on the African savanna look up at the night sky and stare at the God, which their explosively large cerebral cortex can now sense is there, in an attitude of awe and primitive worship, and God stares right back. Let's look at another picture that helps us understand how God chooses to operate if the theory of evolution is correct. Here we have a representation of all that exists in the physical universe, which is called nature, derived from a word which conveys the meaning of being born, and from which we get other words like nativity and natal. Now, in addition to the physical universe, which is detectable with the five senses or with extensions of our five senses, many, and I dare say most of the people in the world believe that there is another realm of existence that cannot normally be detected with the five senses, which is beyond nature or above nature. The word for above or beyond is super. So this is the supernatural or supernatural realm. And here we see God. Now please don't laugh at my picture of God, but God has chosen to ordain certain natural laws which govern the behavior of matter and energy in the physical universe. God seems to really enjoy using natural law, since virtually everything obeys God's natural laws virtually all the time. The only time things deviate from natural laws when God is doing the odd miracle here and there, like parting the Red Sea, or changing water to wine, or raising himself from the dead. Here we see just a few examples of famous natural laws expressed as equations, such as, okay, we've got Newton's second law of motion, Einstein's relativity relationship, Newton's law of universal gravitation. Here we have Boltzmann's definition of entropy, mass action expression from chemistry, which governs equilibrium in chemical reactions. This one, a partial derivative here is Le Chatelier's principle from chemistry. And then at the bottom, ds is greater than 0 is the second law of thermodynamics. Now, we could write dozens of major natural laws that have been discovered so far by humans in various fields of the physical and biological sciences. These statements of natural law are the ultimate triumphs and trophies of the scientific endeavor. And I think there's little doubt in this room tonight that God enjoys watching as humans discover his natural laws through scientific endeavor. He has seen to it that humans have powerful, incisive brains which can ask questions, design experiments, and use the scientific method to unravel the secrets of the universe. Every time humans discover a new law or a new principle or a new galaxy or a new fundamental particle, I suspect God is extraordinarily delighted. Over about 150 years of intense research, scientists using the brains that God caused to evolve have by now, in the year 2003, developed a fairly extensive explanation of how living things self-assemble through nothing more than the operation of God's natural laws. I'm going to say that again. We now understand, not completely, but pretty well, how living organisms arise through a self-assembly process, which is